Welcome to Milestone Moments, the show where we explore the journeys that lead to success. I'm Sheila Slick, your host and founder of 5 Milestones. In every episode, we will bring you insights from the minds of entrepreneurs, leaders, and experts who will share not just their expertise, but the milestone moments that have reshaped their journeys and led to significant achievements. So if you're looking for motivation, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and discover the milestones that mark the path to success. Welcome to another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership. I'm Sheila Slick, your host. And today, my special guest is Mitch Webb. Mitch is a nervous system and holistic health coach who is dedicated to helping high performers, entrepreneurs, and individuals struggling with chronic symptoms. He helps them reclaim their health by addressing the root cause of disease, unresolved trauma, and nervous system dysregulation. Mitch's journey into the world of health and healing was deeply personal. As a sought-after coach, speaker, and educator, Mitch has been featured on numerous podcasts and platforms where he shares insights on nervous system healing, trauma recovery, and holistic wellness. His work continues to empower individuals to break free from survival mode, to reconnect with their bodies, and to create a life of vitality and ease. Welcome to the show, Mitch.
Sheila, thank you for having me. I appreciate the introduction.
So let's start.
Yes.
Your healing journey began with personal struggles and then evolved into helping others find their path to wellness. Can you tell me a little bit about that defining moment when you realized that your personal experience could become a catalyst for transformation in others? What did that look like?
Oh yeah, sure. I love that question, and it takes me back to part of my journey that I haven't really talked about in a long time. You know, early on, some of the things I dealt with, heavy metals, Lyme disease. I lived in a house with black mold, and when I first was starting to realize that I was sick, and found myself very thankfully at a functional medicine doctor that's really going to be geared around looking at root cause, because the Western medical model had just failed me at that point. And I was obsessed with, I really dove into health and healing and trying to understand what it meant, like how do I eat, how do I move, what supplements to take, and what's going on with my body, and how do I manage all of this. And you know, I'm in this doctor's office. It's like a Lyme. They dealt with patients who have Lyme disease, and man, I saw some people that were in some really really tough situations, and it was hard to watch. You know, even me at the time, with what I was dealing with, I kind of didn't want to even understand a whole lot of what Lyme disease was. I didn't want to accept a label. I just wanted to get better and understand what it was going to take to get myself there. And I'm trying everything that I'm learning on podcasts. You know, I was really into like biohacking at the time. That's definitely changed, but it was what I needed in the beginning to just start making changes and feel like I was in control in a situation that felt out of control. But kind of the way it happened is I'm trying all these things, and I felt like I was the only patient in the office that was getting better. And so while I was waiting in the waiting room, you know, I just started doing what I do, talking to people, and started asking like, what's going on? What are you dealing with? What symptoms? Or what's, you know, how you feeling? You know, what are you trying? Like, let's chat. And, when people started opening up, you know, a lot of the things that we were dealing with, I'd say physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, they were all the same, you know, and it was cool to you know, to have the connection with someone else. And then, you know, I started sharing information of stuff that I had found. I'm like, hey, I've had that symptom too, and this is what helped me, and here's my number, and like keep in touch. So let me know what's working. I was trying, as I still am, learning what it means to heal, and before long, I've got a couple people I'm texting and communicating with and sharing information. And um, I remember, I guess the turning point was that experience, and then realizing how hard to find this information. I feel like I'd learn something and then I'd find out it's bad, or find out it's not right for me. And there's a lot of fear mongering that goes on in the health industry, and just trying to sift all through all of that and figure out what is right for me, and then sharing that with other people. And at that time, I was in the corporate world, and it was a couple more years before I left, but I left because I wanted to start my own thing where I could, give people good information and help them, like I help myself, and save them time and energy doing it.
So just because I'm not very familiar with Lyme disease, what are some of the symptoms? Did it affect the central nervous system? Is that
Oh yeah, is a tick-borne illness. You're gonna get a tick bite. There could or could not be a bullseye rash that forms on your body. That's usually an indicator of you've gotten bit by a tick that has Lyme disease. Um, Lyme was started in Lyme, Connecticut. There's even research that I've seen where it was engineered, and it was like uh, a way to control a population. And not real sure of the validity of that, but yeah, whenever I got bit by one, it's mine was different. I had, growing up a country boy, you can probably hear my southern accent. I got bit by ticks all the time. And it wasn't until I moved into the house with black mold that it really affected me. So living in that in toxic environment of the black mold suppressed my immune system. And so Lyme came out. And those symptoms are very similar to mold. They kind of mirror each other. It was a lot of brain fog, a lot of fatigue, anxiety as well. Um, I didn't sleep really well, and I would get lost driving in my hometown. Really achy joints, and yeah, just feeling like crap.
well, when you said country boy, in case you're just listening, you're also a hunter because I'm seeing a lot of nature behind you, your heads and other species. So I was so you were always out in the woods in the wild, but the fact is, even at home, your dog can pick up a tick, right? So it's just insane to hear how such one little creature can create so much chaos.
No.
So you were in corporate. This happened. You met with other people. You started a support kind of group, and then
Oh, and then I got hit with more stuff. I met a really good doctor that helped me with the Lyme, helped me with the mold toxicity detoxing. I was had heavy metals. I was pre-diabetic or diabetic. That could be up for debate. So there were some metabolic issues going on. It's really the perfect storm of these different traumas, illnesses, accidents. I was in a really bad car accident right after that. So I started coaching people and moved to a larger city of Raleigh, North Carolina, to meet some more like-minded people. And I was going to meet one of my first clients. I got hit by a dump truck that totaled my car and left me with post-concussion syndrome for about a year. As I recovered from that, I got long haul COVID 3 times. So for 3 years, I had long haul COVID. It brought me to my knees. Destroyed my gut health, hormonal health. I could not exercise anymore. I had massive amounts of fatigue. I wasn't sleeping, and all the things that I had learned up until that point, they weren't working anymore. And that is when I learned. I read The Body Keeps the Score. Maybe a lot of people have heard of that book. It talks about how the body can, and when we don't process different traumas, like I've been through with illness and Then there's early developmental stuff and our childhood stuff that inevitably, a lot of people deal with. I was completely unaware. So reading that book really opened my eyes, and had some really good mentors and friends help me see that a dysregulated nervous system is at the root cause of a lot of these illness and things that I was dealing with. When your nervous system is dysfunctional, it's connected to your immune system, your hormonal system. It affects digestion and rest and safety. And and when I started to really dive into that, to working with therapists and meeting my mentor Irene Lyon, and learning her course and her way of building capacity and learning to regulate the nervous system, things just started really shifting quickly. So it was like a 20-year journey. This isn't a short time of looking for answers. And certainly the foundational stuff of eating healthy and moving well, and uh, we're exactly that, foundational. The nervous system is where I found the most healing, and within a couple months of doing one of her courses and going to therapy and doing those things, I started eating food again where I could not. I started putting on weight. I started exercising again. Started getting my energy back. And like I do, I take that and I try to learn as much as I can, and share that with other people.
That's quite a transformation. So, how do you help leaders, entrepreneurs, individuals effectively navigate the nervous system, keep it regulated so that they can maintain personal well being? What does that look like?
It's for me. I think a big part of it is reconnecting with the body and learning to listen to, our interoception is what you would call that. The body's communication communicates through emotions, through sensations. It's little intuitions and things like that. When we have trauma, we tend to quit listening. A lot of people that I work with, we tend to intellectualize, meaning we're gonna squeeze it feels too much from the neck down, and so we disconnect from the body. We squeeze ourselves up into our head, and then we try to think our way to safety. That's what I was doing by, trying to take the next supplement, do the next detox, the next restricted diet, the more punishing workout. These things could be sold to us as a hitting the peak of health. But what I found is I got more controlling and more restrictive, and I quit listening to my body, and I was relying on, external resources. I'm looking for somebody to heal me. I was looking for the perfect diet, the perfect, all these things, the supplement, exercise, and that pursuit of perfection is a losing game. I don't think perfection exists, but it's a response to trauma that says, I have to control these things and create this perfect reality to get what I want. And I just wanted to feel good. I just wanted to be the best version of myself. And so I had to quit listening to all of this, and I started relying on me and listening to my voice. And that's what I do with my clients now. So I take, decades of the basics and health and wellness, and while I'm teaching, it's meeting the person where they're at. It's not telling them what to do. I used to, want to do it my way, and that's not how this works. It's really your way, and you can't do it your way unless you can listen to the body and respond instead of reacting to every new shiny object that you think is gonna fix you. So we start to build that relationship with the body while making sure we're doing the basics of you know really into a nutritional approach that's going to be right for the client. That's very individual. Whether someone has people that I work with, they're going to have gut issues, they're going to have fatigue and these different symptoms like autoimmune disease and the gut issues, the anxiety, and applying a good diet that's supportive, not restrictive, is going to make a huge difference in these scenarios. And so we just kind of checking the boxes. Are we getting sunlight? Are we moving properly? Are we punishing ourselves through exercise? Are we what's the and then we go into the body. What's going on in our body? Maybe we've disconnected for that for so long. We start to listen, and ultimately following our own impulse is what gets us out of the health hellhole that we've found ourselves in from suppressing our body's intuition and wisdom that's always coming through. We just society teaches us to disconnect from that and to not listen to it. So it's a coming home to the body.
So if someone, a leader, an entrepreneur came to you and said, I'm suffering burnout, what would that initial session or perhaps an exercise that you would send them to practice look like?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, we're gonna get real clear on where you're at and what's going on and what you've tried up until now and just building a relationship, understanding where are we trying to go, starting with the end in mind and getting realistic and clear on how we're gonna get there. And used to I would really take like a shotgun approach and try to do everything at once. And now I'm really listening to the person, trying to meet them where they're at and understand like what's the low hanging fruit. So someone that's burnt out, it depends on if they're ready emotionally or ready at all energy wise to go into some of it just depends on where they're at. Some people are going to need the foundational stuff with nutrition and exercise and always conversation and working through, what's coming up, the different mental and emotional type of things that we deal with as humans on a day-to-day basis. Um, but someone that's in burnout obviously needs to learn how to rest. And for those of us that are perfection, people pleasers, all or nothing, sleep when that's our society. Sleep when you die, burn the candle at both ends. Um, that's hard. That's a different gear. And, we're going to titrate is the word. We're going to go really slow. And maybe we're going to take a minute to feel our butt in the chair, notice our breath, be in our environment, use our different senses, whether that's auditory or visual, to be in the environment. A lot of times I know. If I'm burnt out, if I'm feeling that, I'm usually projecting something I'm afraid of into the future, thinking the worst possible thing, or I'm ruminating on something that's happened in the past. And so, recognizing those tendencies that takes a lot of work to continuously be thinking their way to safety. And often, the only way to get to safety is trusting that we're going to be okay and being here now, being in the environment. And that's a process. And what that is building capacity to be here now. Certainly those protective patterns of people pleasing and thinking the worst possible black or white type stuff that served us at some point, that made us feel safe. And so, recognizing that as a protective mechanism from likely a stressful situation we didn't have the capacity to deal with. But we want to build our capacity to be here now, to be with that, and to, as you say, it's getting the lessons from these experiences instead of repeating them over and over again, because that's really what's going on when we're holding trauma in the body. Is this unsafety that we feel comes from a past experience that was overwhelming, that our body feels like is happening all the time right now. And so it's a process, it's slow. It requires co-regulation, in a setting where client feels safe and supported. And, we're building safety and meeting the person wherever they're at, one step at a time.
So you do this through one-on-one coaching? Is that your service?
Yes. One-on-one. I've had people ask for group coaching. It's something I'm interested in the future. I really enjoy getting in and building a relationship and working together on a really customized level. I think everybody is sort of different. To make a blanket statements is really hard for me. And I like getting in and doing the heavy lifting, if you will, and teaching the client to become their own medicine through the one-on-one journey.
So, what is your next milestone?
My next milestone, I mean, it's putting this together in an offering and growing the business. It's I've been doing so much of my own personal work, and I think it's one thing to intellectualize and to under or to have the knowledge and to understand it. And it's a different step to embody that, and that's what I've been working on. And um, tend to attract clients that are in similar situation that I've been. And so now it's how do we take years of learning. Sometimes it's hard for me to know where to start sharing because there's so much information, and that's where I love to meet the client because it's about them. It's not about what I'm sharing. But my next step is learning how to put this information out there, attract the clients, and help the people that need my help.
So, if you could put a number on the amount of clients that you're looking to help, what would that number look like?
You know, Gosh, that's a great question. I feel like we're getting into business coaching now.
Well, that's my 2 cents for you so that I can help you make it more concrete and set an whole goal for your month.
I would love to, just say I don't like working with more than 10 people at a time. That's a little bit too much. The health coaching is very different than this nervous system coaching. Um, so if we're talking about like 12 months from now, I would love to see 50 clients. That would be awesome.
Great. Well, now you vocalized it. So that'll help you visualize it and make it happen. You have 12 months, impact 50 people, and you got this.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. There's a lot of I don't know if you get into energy and in my mentorship, all these ladies are introducing me to like human design and horoscope type stuff. And if you're into that, there's a lot of this manifestation, creation, action, energy, and so it fits right into what I'm feeling. So I appreciate that little help there, a little tip.
Well, I love it. And I always love learning. Like, I'm all about continuous learning. And every time I meet a guest, I learn something new. With the energies, I've had one with my chakras. I was like, well, what do those colors look like? And she said, you're yellow right now. I'm like, yellow. I was afraid to ask her, what does yellow mean? But she started explaining, and somewhere there, she either used the word intellect or something. I was like, oh, just stop. Chill. It was like you made my day. You're saying I'm intelligent. So that's the only thing I heard, but, I love learning, so anytime I can, I
Yeah, it's great to be seen, right?
yes. Thank you so much for joining me today,
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to share.
and where can the listeners find you?
They can find me on mitchwebb.com. It's my website. I'm on Instagram at kmitchwebb, and can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn under Mitch Webb as well. I've got a free download for your audience to kind of start to unpack a little bit of this nervous system approach and how we can start taking some baby steps towards capacity and regulation. So if you don't mind, I'll shoot that to you if you want to share that in your show notes or something like that.
I'd be happy to put whichever link you want on the description of the show so that we can all download it. I may download it myself and learn more about self-regulation and the central nervous system.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you all for joining us on another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership. Until next time.